the internet. Right, brilliant. It's just loading. So hi everyone, I believe we're live. Welcome to Online Events Made Simple Live. This week, I'm the marketing manager, Rianne at EventMind, and I'm joined with Laura Davidson from Tag Digital this week. I'm so excited to have you on, Laura.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
Brilliant. And would you like to introduce yourself? I'm sure many event organisers listening know who Tag Digital are, but if not, it will be good to give it a bit of a summary.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm Laura, one of the directors at Tag Digital. We are going into our 10th year this year of being in business, and we provide paid media services to event organisers to help them reach their goals. And I guess that's a few different things just now, but yeah, everybody needs data, attendance, revenue, so always kind of goes along that kind of line of thinking.
Amazing. And yeah, it's amazing. You're into your 10th year. I'm sure your business has grown so much within those 10 years. How have you found it?
Yeah, it has. It's been amazing, and it's so funny thinking of the things we did back in the day, and just kind of hustling our way through those early years. And yeah, now we've got a great team. We've got clients all over the world. We do about 2,000 events every single year, and so yeah, it's been a journey, and yeah, like lots of people who are kind of in the event industry, probably our most challenging year was 2020. But it has refocused the business, and it has given us lots of areas that we wanted to work on and maybe didn't have the time to. So it's really kind of focused us and pushed us to innovate, and yeah, a lot of good stuff's come out of it. But yeah, human beings like certainty, and that's something that we've not had. So I think we've all been working to overcome that last year.
Absolutely. And I know you just touched on last year. Last year was a funny year for everyone, and it still is a bit strange. I know just before this call, we were saying it's a bit of an odd year. How have you found it as the director of a company? It's such a tough time. How did you need to change any strategies, or, reach out to people a bit more?
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that we, have found definitely at the beginning. There was just this real sense of kind of camaraderie in the industry. Our team have all kind of really supported each other through, really challenging times mentally, and kind of like there's been a real human connection, which I think has been great. I think just not knowing what was in front of us was probably scary at times. When it all kind of kicked off last year, I think we had about 200 events cancelled within a month,
oh my goodness,
which was pretty frightening. But weirdly, when that was all just taken away and there was nothing we could do about it, we were able to then say, okay, what else can we do? And we focused on innovations and services. We started our own podcast, we built content, we did a whole bunch of stuff, and like fitness challenges, and just things that we didn't really even think about before. So kind of changed us as a business, and I think now we're seeing the impact of a lot of that work. I think that's the thing, is we just didn't realize how long it was going to take. And this year I think will be kind of similar in that it's there'll be some stuff happening, but it will be still a challenging year, but hopefully not as challenging as last year.
Absolutely. And it must be so horrible having events cancelled. I know many organizations have gone through that, but many organizations may have just had 1 or 2 events, but to have 200, that would be so scary.
That's it, because so we support our event organizers all over the world, and I think the first events were in Asia, and we were like, really, it's been cancelled? And we had a event scheduled that we work with Google directly, and we had this whole big event scheduled in London, and we were so excited for it, and then they cancelled that, and we were like, oh right, okay, so this thing is pretty serious. And then within a month we had 200 events cancelled. And I think what happened, and what we saw, just I think we're all kind of eternal optimists, is our clients all were maybe pushing dates back. Oh, we'll run it in September, we'll push it to January. And then we kind of saw the advent of the virtual events happening, and we kind of supported our clients, working through that. And then it was just, I think you just never maybe appreciate how tough you are, or the company is, or the team is, and
Yeah,
all the resilience that you've built up over that time until these things actually happen. So
so true.
yeah, I guess you think, oh, what's the worst that could happen? All our clients, cancel everything that we've
Mm,
got booked for the next year, but we have found a way to get through and retain our team.
yeah.
And yeah, it's been okay, actually.
Yeah, it's amazing that you've pulled through, because unfortunately many companies haven't managed to. So it's
I
really
know.
good that you've managed to pull through and come out nearly at the other end now.
Yeah, I think we have been lucky, and the virtual side has kept us going for sure. Like we've had lots of clients do virtual, and the
Mm,
international elements and things like that. Whereas I've got lots of friends who've got businesses, who just cannot work at the moment, which is very,
yeah,
very tough and frustrating.
exactly. And you've touched on your clients. So how do your clients, or how do companies out there kind of benefit from a service like Tag Digital? I know
Mm.
many organizers might be listening, a bit intrigued. Is it something they should try?
Yeah, for sure. So we support our clients to reach their goals using paid media. So I guess that just comes under the kind of broad remit of digital marketing. But we do just the paid side of it. We don't do anything organic. We don't do kind of organic social or SEO or content. We just do the
Mm,
paid media. So I guess what we offer that's different to other people is we have built, we just do one thing, and we do it well.
mm,
And we have built a huge amount of data over the last 10 years so that we can benchmark for our clients. So say, for instance, a client is coming to us and they say, I'm going to run a security event in London. How much would it cost me to get one visitor there? We'll be able to give them that data because everything we do is paid media. So we can help them kind of forecast their results. Generally, we can inject about a 30% uplift to their overall results,
it's
which
amazing.
is great. And it helps them to track everything in a really, really easy way. So yeah, I think we're very niche in what we do, but that's helped us to grow, kind of
Yeah.
understand our clients, what they need, listen to what their challenges are, and then build services around that. So yeah, search, social, programmatic, and video. We just work across those kind of 4 channels, paid media, everything that helps us to do that better,
Mm.
and then provide better performance to our clients.
Yeah, and that's a really good tip there. You say you kind of focus on one thing, but you do it well. And I think that's a really good point. Many companies now are thinking of branching out into virtual events, into more marketing, into using Clubhouse, all of these aspects. But if you just focus on one thing and do it well, I mean, what more could you want?
Yeah, I think that's it. And someone said that to me very early on when we just kind of started the business. And, you should specialize in a sector. And we were like, no, anyone could be our client. We could work with Nike or whatever. But,
Mm,
actually, when we specialized and just, laser focused in on one thing, it means that you kind of ignore all the other noise. And it's definitely a more long-term strategy, but it served us really well. And even now you think, that's crazy. We're still all kind of working, when you've got no events happening, but
mm,
event organizers always need to build data, or they need to monetize that data, or they've got training courses, subscriptions, content. So there's a lot that kind of comes under that's allowed us to keep going throughout this time, and also give us ways to diversify but still stay in the same niche. So yeah, I think it's cut out just a lot of the noise really for us,
mm.
and kept us and our team really focused.
Definitely. And I think for event organizers listening, or they might be listening on demand, it's so helpful, and it kind of takes the pressure slightly off of their marketing team, because you've
Oh
almost got
yeah.
like an external marketing team, I suppose, helping you with your campaigns, which I couldn't think of anything better.
Yeah, and that's really how we want to work, as an extension to the marketing team. So marketing managers, as you'll know now, are just busier and busier, and they get kind of
Hmm.
more put on their plate. And I think often clients maybe come to us at a stage where they've said to their marketing managers, oh, can you just run the paid for us? And they're like, well, I'm updating the website, or I'm doing the emails,
Mm,
or I'm doing a million different things. And so it is a really specialist skill. And I think that's where we can support, is to say, we'll just take all that heavy lifting, and we always want input from our clients, and
mm,
what are their goals and aspirations, and what's all the stuff that's happening at the event. But we can do the bit that makes sure that those numbers come in, which we have our team who do that as a full-time job. There's so much in it.
mm.
So yeah, hopefully that's where
Yeah,
we can
it's
take
so
that pressure
helpful.
off.
Yeah. It definitely is. And I know, well, as a marketing manager myself, there is so much going on. And I think some teams don't understand how much the role actually, you know, all the other bits you've got to do. So it's so nice that there's an option out there to help with that. Does Tag Digital work with live and virtual events, or how does it work, you know, with virtual events now booming?
Yeah, we definitely do. So, yeah, last year, well, 2019, I don't even know. We did a couple of, I don't even know if you'd say they were virtual events, you know, webinars, things like that. That was definitely commonplace. But then last year, I think we did one live event maybe in December across the whole year, and everything else was virtual. So we maybe did about 700 virtual events over the course of the year, which, you know, we all had to learn and adapt pretty quick. We produced a lot of content around like the learnings that we were finding, so that organisers would kind of find that useful. And, you know, a lot of the campaign techniques are pretty similar in terms of what people are searching for or the type of users that you're going after. It's more around like maybe the buying behavior or like the length of time people are taking to make decisions. It's very, very short on a virtual event. You know, we maybe run like a 12-week attendance campaign for visitors. Whereas on virtual, maybe 6 weeks is fine to do that, because you're not going to make a decision about a virtual event 4 months down the line. But if you need to fly to somewhere in Europe or America, then that would be a decision you'd take more in advance. So yeah, we've learned a lot about virtual, and we've done things like the virtual event certification. We worked to provide the content for that and put our team through that as well. So things like that have come out have been brilliant resources for everyone. But everyone's still learning, you know, but I think the quality of virtual event has just dramatically changed, you know, in a year, which is crazy, the speed of innovation that's happening at the moment. But yeah, some amazing virtual events, some we've sponsored and spoken. So yeah, I've been really, really impressed with some of the technology.
Amazing. And how have you found actually attending virtual events? I know they used to be a 50-50 thing. Now I think people are really growing towards them. Like you said, they've grown massively in a year. So how have you found kind of the change?
Yeah, the attendance thing, I think what, you know, we've kind of discussed it as a team, like when we've been on the kind of attendance side or the sponsorship side or the speaking side, we have had very good attendance, probably higher attendance at some of our own sessions, maybe than we would have done at an in-person event. Because you know what it's like, it's so busy and there's so much going on. So some of that has surprised us with how many people attended. For ourselves, what we found is we had fewer meetings, but they were much higher quality. So, you know, we would go to an event and, you know, in Vegas or London or whatever, speak to 200, 250 people. Out of that, you know, how many actually turned into projects? Whereas what we found is our conversion rate is much higher with the online events. I think the one thing that we all struggle with, and it's just, you know, it could be a right now thing or it could not be, is just overall engagement. You know, our attention spans are short. We've got 500 different things pinging in, you know, notifications on your phone, your laptop all day. Your attention is kind of pulled. Whereas what I like about going to a live event is I'm just like totally focused when I'm there for the 2 or 3 days, you know, and I'm like not distracted. Whereas I found that was probably something when I was there just as an attendee, my attention was easy to be pulled. But I think, you know, you can navigate that by having, you know, nice short speaker sessions, like 20-minute sessions, like using a really strong kind of AI matchmaking on like the networking side. So we know the guys over at Grip and they've done like amazing work on that. So, you know, I think having some of these things in place, being realistic about, you know, I read a quote the other day, I can't remember where it was on LinkedIn somewhere.
Agree.
Like watching a football match live to watching it at home is still a good experience, but you just have to make sure that it's kind of right for the audience. So yeah, I think absolutely have their place. And I guess travel is going to be the one thing that's going to be impacted for a while. So will continue to be a thing. And I just think they'll get better and better. Virtual reality will become more integrated. And people will adapt the formats.
I think they've improved massively. And like you touched on, travel is the one thing that you almost can't replicate virtually. Obviously, events, you know, you've got the live, you've got the virtual, but travel, you can't really travel virtually. You know, there might be some simulator things, but it's not like flying in Spain, you know, with the cocktail.
Exactly.
So I completely agree. I think certain industries as well, like you kind of touched on there, it is different, but they are improving dramatically. And there's so much out there now and so much information that people can now access to make their events good as well.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yep. No, we did one the other day. It was a kind of nice event around Norway, and there was like different food and drink tasting and tours, and people are just so creative with the stuff that they're putting together. And I guess that is the other good thing about virtual is, everyone said it a million times, but the geographies are opened up to you, whereas
Yeah.
people might not have been able to go to an international event because of budget reasons or whatever, but now you can go to whatever event you want virtually. So I think that's been a huge positive too.
So true, yeah. And you touched on previously at Tag Digital, you kind of help organizers monetize their existing data. How does this work? Because I think, it's a bit of an unknown subject. And if you can monetize anything, we're going to want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I mean, this is funny because we offered this service and kind of worked with a few clients maybe about 4 years ago in it, but clients weren't that interested and they were very focused on a live event. Whereas what's happened is the live events haven't been able to happen, but organisers are sitting on these huge pools of data. So essentially it means that they can run campaigns for their exhibitors or their sponsors, retargeting all of that data that they've built, and it means that they can still get exposure to all of the events data and their audience, but they don't have to have the live event happening. So it's a kind of 365 approach, allows you to monetize the data, and we're finding clients are charging that back out probably 5-6 times what they actually pay us at cost for it. So it's been a really good thing, and yeah, clients have had a huge amount of interest, even though it's been about for a while. It's just the pressure was always on the live events, whereas now they can look a little more longer term. So it's been really positive. That's kind of kept us going too.
Absolutely. And for many organizers, obviously it's such a busy time, but you've got the data, like why not just reuse it? I think there's something you just forget to use. And it's the same with blog content. If organizers are listening, and if you've created blog content, podcast content, it's out there. So keep reusing it. It saves having to recreate and spend your time. It's something my manager's super keen on, because it just saves you time on getting the information back out there.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And that's it. It's built, and this is traffic that they've maybe spent tens, thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars or pounds to acquire that data over a number of years. So they want to get their money's worth from it. And yeah, they maybe had planned for a live event. The other thing that they're doing is, say they had sold sponsorship or exhibitor space, and then the event later gets cancelled, it means that they can still provide something back to the client that's pretty low cost, and they can still run a campaign for them, get them some exposure so that they feel like they've got something out of it, rather than postponing to the next year, doing a whole bunch of refunds, all that stuff. So people have used it to make money and also to kind of mitigate their losses as well, I suppose.
Absolutely. And we're coming to the 20-30 minute mark. It just goes so quickly, but this is a big question. So take your time, but where do you see the events industry going, in the future? I think many people are thinking they're so keen to get back to live events, but also we're kind of starting to see the real benefits of virtual and hybrid as well. So where do you see that going, or where do you want it to go?
Yeah, I know. I think we've kind of gone full circle. I think like everyone kind of threw together these virtual events quite quickly, and they maybe weren't so great, but actually they have got a lot better. The technology's evolved. People are more used to it. We've kind of adapted to it. So I feel like virtual is definitely here to stay in some capacity.
Absolutely.
I think hybrid is really hard. I think, hybrid is like, oh, that's like a happy medium, but actually you're running two huge things in parallel. And I think that's quite difficult. So we've had some clients who say like, we're just not even going to go down that road. And then live events, I think nothing really does replace it. I think that's the thing that we're all really missing is human connection, is just like that feeling of, being at an event, all the live action. I feel like the experiential side will become more just appealing, exciting, everything, because we've all got so used to just like being at home and getting everything delivered to us, and it's going to take a lot for us to build that behavior back up again. So I think live events will be hugely exciting. But I think, yeah, ultimately we are all, you know, needing that human connection. So
Yeah.
I think they'll come back, but I think we'll be much more open to virtual and hybrid formats, even though, yeah, because I just think they'll get better and better,
Yeah.
and we'll become more accepting of it. Whereas I think that it was maybe seen as like a second best thing, whereas I feel like
So
there's
true.
definitely space for it, especially. And then the other thing I think is just with the travel restrictions. I think that's probably going to be quite a while, you know, from all different countries. So virtual
Yeah.
will support organisers in that space for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think when virtual events first become a thing, you know, a year ago, people were just like, you know, they're going to be crap, that there's not enough time or money put into them, but they are growing. And I think, you know, live is always going to be live. This is what people know. They like to go shake hands, have a glass of wine, have a coffee, have a meeting. But it will definitely be an add-on. And, you know, fingers crossed it won't happen again. But if anything comes up, we've kind of got this nailed, and many organisers know how to cope with global pandemics now and how to stay alive.
Exactly. I think that's it. And so many organisers, you know, obviously there has been, you know, horrible sets of redundancies and companies that have folded, but they have also found ways to generate revenue that I bet, you know, if you'd put that question 2 years ago, it would have just seemed so alien and maybe you wouldn't have survived it. Whereas actually they've done really, really well and put these things in place and enabled them to have virtual events. So yeah, I think that's been a huge positive too.
Completely agree. Thank you so much for coming on today, Laura. It was so interesting to hear more about Tag Digital and your views on the market. Where can people find you if they'd like to reach out? I'm sure you'll have many people reaching out after this conversation.
Probably LinkedIn, I would say, is my platform of choice. So yeah, it's just Laura Davidson on LinkedIn is probably the best place to find me.
Perfect, nice and easy. Thank you so much to everyone who's listening live, or if you're listening on demand. And if you are wondering how to take your events digital, then reach out to me again on LinkedIn, just Rhiann Berry, and we'll see you all next week, next Wednesday. Thanks for coming on, Laura.
Thank you.